Hello guys, hello friends of SIR JAY the Skatanauts. This is me, SIR JAY, and you're listening to Bluebeat and Ska.
Bluebeat and Ska.
Reggae Fever!
Is the ska scene booming in Switzerland?
So I think there's always been a certain stream of bands throughout the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, even in Switzerland. I mean, obviously picking up on some form of two-tone ska, and pop ska, obviously, and even surf ska, and those sort of types, which you all classify kind of within third wave ska. And I think what's kind of new, and if you want booming, is more a couple of dedicated bands who really see the need to focus more on the original sound. You know, just bringing home really how you know, maybe the Skatanauts would have sounded, or Supersonics and that kind of groups from Jamaica back in the 60s. So I think that's pretty unique, really bringing it back home where it came from.
Where does the name SIR JAY and the Skatanauts come from?
So, no, this isn't a great story really. It's more, I like Greek mythology, and the Jay and Jason and the Argonauts has always been something I like the sound of. But you can't call it a ska band Argonauts, it has to be Skatanauts. So clearly that's something in it. I also want to, at some point, maybe take the SIR JAY out of it. It's not just about me, of course, it's the band. So maybe we will reduce the name a little bit in the future.
You are very much playing in the style of the Skatalites. Are they your inspiration?
Well, there's no doubt about that. We very much love the Skatalites. It's, for me specifically, a sound I've studied for 25 years. And I couldn't stop doing that. And it's, of course, the music of Don Drummond, Tommy McCook, Roland Alfonso, Ernest Rangley, Monty Alexander, Lynn Tate, Jackie Mittoo. So these grinds have really inspired me. And for me, I see this more like a continuation of the work. As someone who wants to kind of continue really that genre where the music has kind of left off in 1964, obviously, with the incarceration of Don Drummond. For me, it's all about bringing back the original vibe and really kind of pretend it never ended, if you want.
You've now released one digital album and 2 singles. Are there any plans for an album?
Okay, so in fact we recorded a couple of tracks back in the summer. It was about 14 tracks, 12 of which were supposed to go on an album. But then somehow things have changed, and we wanted to really make sure that the music is even appreciated. So we thought, why don't we just try a single? And so we did it. We did a COVID-19 special with Lockdown, back to back, and it was a success. And then we thought, okay, let's just continue a little bit, shell out a few more 7 inches, just how they did it back in the days, you know, just press it straight on vinyl, a vinyl single, and release to market. Hopefully also being played out loud. But we do have plans to release a full-length album towards the end of the year, on vinyl, of course.
That's great news. Can you also tell why especially on vinyl?
It's deeply, the music's so deeply kind of connected to vinyl. I only know this music. The first time I listened to this music was on vinyl. It wasn't on CD, it was on vinyl. You know, my first ska records I bought in mid-90s, you know, Skatalites, Jackie Mittoo, Killer Dilla, you know, and just listening to the stuff with a bit of crackle in the background. I knew this sound has kind of manifested itself in my ear. I don't know it any different. I don't want it clean. I want it dirty. It has to touch my heart, you know. And that's something that vinyl gives you. You can look at it. It turns. You feel connected. I could not imagine just releasing something personally of the Skatanauts, playing original kind of 60s Jamaican music, but yeah, it has to be on vinyl. For me, that's just kind of the only way forward.
On your 2 singles, I see you work together with Lenny Bignell, who we know from the Phoenix City All-Stars, and also on the current Rode Dakar singles. How did you 2 come together?
I know Lenny Bignell from my time playing in a band in London, the Sidewalk Doctors. I was on keyboards, Lenny on guitar. I loved the project. For some reason, I transferred to Switzerland. We kind of lost touch. But Lenny and me, I think we always had a good working relationship in music. And I do remember him from that time. And when he came to, for us asking the question, how are we going to go towards vinyl when it comes to mastering, is a very special process. I asked him how he did it with the Phoenix City All-Stars, which I really think have nailed the sound when it comes to authentic ska, and it really has a sort of rawness. And given the fact that he did it himself, the vinyl mastering, it was a no-brainer. I just asked him if he was up for it. He said yes, so there we have it. And hopefully we can continue that nice relationship. Also some other collaboration in ska, reggae, rocksteady, whatever it is.
You created your own record label, Tippa Top Records. I love the artwork, it gives me a real retro feeling. But where is the name coming from?
So Tippa Top is kind of a merger of how people say in Switzerland tip top for something that seems to be nickel, or France for something that is sort of excellent or top, you know. And in Jamaica you've got something like Tippa Top. In fact, you know, so the two are pretty much very much aligned. I always liked the ring of it. I liked how it sounded, and I thought. And once I wrote a tune, a ska tune, instrumental, that's called Tippa Tops. I thought, makes sense, sounds good, let's do it.
Your latest single is Better Let It Go, featuring L'Usine. But why is the group now called The Mountaineers? Since the majority of the musicians are coming from the Skatanauts.
Yeah, that's right. So The Mountaineers is a kind of a breakout project from roughly featuring the same members of the Skatanauts, that's true. But it's supposed to establish itself as my studio band. I run a studio up in Canton of Zug, and the town Zug, and it's really the people that I just address when I have a certain project and we come together and we record backing tracks. Of course, I will ask the guys from the Skatanauts, the horns, if they want to add some lines to that. And in this case, I found my wife to be a volunteer to sing actually on it, and so that's how it all started. But The Mountaineers is really kind of a studio project, and potentially something that, if interesting enough for the audience, we'll probably turn it into a full-time band. But yeah, it's kind of a side project if you want.
What was the feedback after the release of COVID-19 Special?
The feedback was quite good, I would say. Definitely better than I expected. Because it's always hard. I mean, you have well-established bands, they have a very specific sound. I think what we really tried to do, as I said, was to revive the original Skatalites sound. I wasn't quite sure if that would hit, you know. It turned out better than I expected, especially with the original music collectors, I would say. You know, people really who are in love with the open music, also like the style of the record, and certainly there's always an idea to go hand in hand. So it's the music and it's the visual of it. For me, they go together, they have to belong together. It's an experience, it's for the eye, it's for the ear. And those people appreciate it the most, I would say. And I'm very happy and very honored, because I consider certainly collectors, connoisseurs of music as really also judges for music quality. And we were really impressed. We sold our 1,000 COVID-19 special records, which was incredible. And it just gave us also the stimulus to continue the work, I would say, and keep the music flowing.